Welcome to Local Spins Live at River City Studios. This is the 10th edition of these sessions presented by Hobcat. Welcome once again. And tonight we have special guests, an emerging indie folk band from Michigan, Olivia Mainville and the Aquatic Troupe. Welcome to Local Spins Live.
Thank you.
So tonight on hand we have Olivia, Andy, Blue, Libby, and Ian. I'm curious, Olivia, when you assembled this band, did you have a specific vision for what the sound might be or what the direction of the music might be, or was this something that happened after the musicians assembled and collaborated?
It more so happened after the musicians all came together. Originally I was playing kind of just like straight up folk, and gypsy inspired, gypsy swing inspired songs. But it definitely changed a lot after we added, our different band members. Like Blue adds the trombone. Yeah. And, Andy and his trumpet. So we have lots of horns now and omnichord and Wurlitzer. And that definitely wasn't like that before. And we have Libby, of course, with the banjo.
And I described it before as adventurous indie folk. You've got that gypsy swing part of it as well. So as a student of perhaps that kind of music, is that what sort of formed what you do? I mean, is that the kind of music that you sort of leaned toward as you were growing up and listening to, the music that you were listening to at the time?
I hadn't started listening to any gypsy swing or anything like that until I was in 8th grade. Before that, I listened to like Ozzy Osbourne and, the Grateful Dead and a little bit of Jet. It was all over the place when I was younger, but we're definitely... When I got into 8th grade, I went to my first music festival, and I learned a lot about traditional music and gypsy swing, because that's where I met my first gypsy swing band, Caravan of Thieves.
Caravan of Thieves, you've actually toured with them.
Yeah.
And how do you think that they've inspired what you do?
When I was listening to them, it was like I've never heard anything that was like it before. Aside from, like, Django Reinhardt, but they're like a mixture of Django Reinhardt and Danny Elfman.
Sure.
So, yeah.
As a young band, West Michigan has a boatload of young musicians that are starting to make a splash on the scene. You've got the Accidentals from Traverse City. You've got Olivia Mainville and the Aquatic Troupe. To what do you attribute the fact that you've made an impact on the music scene at such a young age?
What do I attribute? Ian.
You're not getting any help from the drummer.
The wide open scene with help from John Sinkovic's and Local Spins. Definitely a big factor.
But seriously, I mean, there's people will look at you and they'll go, "How does she do what she does? How does this man put this together without the sort of wealth of 10, 15, 20 years of experience?"
Heck. That's a good question, John.
She's tongue-tied.
Well, let me tell you about this question that you just asked me. It is oh goodness, I don't know. I just submerge myself in all these different genres, and I listen to a lot of music. So I gain inspiration from a lot of different places, and I don't know.
It's what you do. I know that. And you guys recorded this album, the new album, Maybe the Saddest Thing, was recorded here at River City Studios with Roy Wallace. Tell me a little bit about the process and the approach that you guys took in recording this and the ups and downs of putting a big project like this together. It was an award-winning album, but I know that it necessarily didn't always go in a smooth sort of orbit.
No. Let's see. Before Andy, we were in a 3-piece, so it was just Andy and our old drummer and I, and we got together 10 days before we decided to record, and we just practiced all the songs over and over again, and when we got into the studio, we had 4 or 5 days. Was it 5? It
was 4.
Really? Okay, 4 days to finish it all, which we did. But we, kept going back and re-recording things, and we added another song to it. So it took a really long time. We just, we'd go there and then we'd wait another 4 or 5 weeks and we'd come back and do another thing and then we'd change our minds about something. So that was the hard part, was just making all the changes, because as time grew on, we all also developed as a band and we changed a lot.
And different personnel in some
Yeah,
cases, too.
exactly.
Having to go back and re-record things, potentially, that kind of thing. Is it because you guys are perfectionists, do you think, or just because you wanted it to sound a certain way?
I guess a little bit of both. I mean, some of us are perfectionists, and I think some of us aren't. But yeah, I think it's definitely like a little bit of both. We just kept hearing things, and we wanted to change things. Like Blue and Libby added things to our songs that we didn't have before. So.
And coming from different bands and different backgrounds, right? Now, Andy, I'm curious from your perspective, what is it that makes what Olivia does special and stand out maybe from other artists in West Michigan?
A lot of like the chord progressions she does are really interesting and not normal, like not like 4-chord pop songs.
Right.
Just all the structures and stuff. They're interesting.
It kind of gives it a little twist, I would have to say. So you guys have been performing now for, a while as a band. What's ahead for you in 2016, the summer and beyond, for Olivia Mainville and the Aquatic Troupe?
Let's see. Lots of festivals. We're playing 10 festivals this summer. So we're doing a lot of those. We're booking a Colorado tour, which I hadn't told anybody until now. But in September.
Congratulations,
so they're all
guys.
just like, they all just found out. Yeah. We have a Colorado tour booked in September. We're playing at the Pyramid Scheme in the summertime. We're doing Meyer Gardens with Delilah DeWild. We're doing, a lot of fun stuff. So, yeah. A lot of music things.
Yeah, good. Building an audience for your music. Well, let's hear some of that music. We're talking Olivia Mainville and the Aquatic Troupe. What are you going to start off with tonight?
We're going to start off with a song called Intro/Haunt You.
how'd you till you die? Upright in your crude bones, I'll make bare all your lies, and I'll make you beautiful.
Thank you. Here's a song called Qualities.
I know I live a light equality. My mom, she says I'm special and I need all of these. Life out loud, they don't mean a thing. Say I play with you, but I'm still waiting hopelessly. All that I want to say to you, all that I'm hoping which is true. All that I want to say to you is I hope that you're not looking too. I walk the paper like a door. I was 17. Older, I learned more. My don't mind what a bit. Say I play with you, but I think I'm always fair. But all that I want to say to you, all that I'm hoping which is true, all that I want to say to you is I hope that you're not like me too.
So, Olivia, tell me a little bit about your journey as a musician. You were homeschooled. Did you spend all your time at home just listening to music and starting to
Yeah.
play instruments?
Yeah, I kind of made myself a little musical cave in my basement. I just took, I started gathering a bunch of instruments. So, like buying, like cheap, crappy ones from Guitar Center, or something like a $50 mandolin, like a $50 banjo. And I just started teaching myself all these different instruments in my basement, and I just listened to music all the time while I attempted to study. So that's basically, what I did.
And is there any particular singer who inspired you vocally? Anyone who you emulate in terms of your own sort of approach to singing?
Actually, no. No, I never really listened to people when they sing. I never listened to the voices too much. I just listened to the chords. That's basically it. So no, not really.
All right, what else we got on tap?
Let's see. I think we have a song called "On a Grave." Yeah, that's what we have.
So while we're switching instruments here, I'm really curious, just because it is a different sort of eclectic band. For each band member, I want each band member to name one person, either someone who they knew, a relative or a friend, who inspired them or mentored them musically, or maybe a national artist who got you to do what you're doing as a musician. Starting with Libby over here on the right.
Depends on what instrument, but probably Pete Seeger more than anything.
So classic folk music.
Yeah, I love
obviously.
folk music.
So did you listen to that as a child, or was that something your parents had around the house?
I really got into it in like middle school age. I think country was the bridge that got me to it, because like I realized that I liked a lot of the instruments that were being played. So I looked into more of the history of the instrument and found that that's what I like.
Excellent. Olivia?
There's a band from Canada called Tequila Mockingbird Orchestra. And my parents and I were really into going to music festivals, so we invited them over to do a little show at our house. So they stayed for 3 nights, and they're super inspiring. They did a bunch of workshops with us.
Wow.
So I got my my bump, per se,
Right.
like my push from that band.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual to have that have that experience
Yeah,
as a
that's
kid
cool.
growing up. Ian, how about you?
We're talking specifically like I should probably get up in here.
Good idea.
We're talking specifically like like the outside world of musicians.
Either that or someone personally who who was a friend of yours or a relative or somebody that inspired you.
I'd call Barry Bennett up north a pretty big inspiration.
No, really.
He's a music teacher up in Petoskey. It's he took music from like something you enjoy to something you can like make other people enjoy, and it like there's certain things like paintings can be paintings and they are what they are, but then someone can tell you that they're like 1,000 things, and so he's one of the people that told me that music's something that you can show other people, you can embrace it alone, you can embrace it with 1,000 people. I don't know.
That's a great philosophy. Mhm. Very cool. Blue, how about you?
I guess I'm kind of going to go a similar route to Ian. One of my biggest inspirations to kind of get into music and stay with music has been Carl Bryan, also a teacher from up north, Petoskey. Probably wouldn't even be playing any instruments if it weren't for his kind of drive and passion to kind of inspire students.
Is that like when you were a
Students
teenager?
inspired. Yeah, like started in middle school.
Oh, okay. All right.
Before that, I didn't really do anything.
So was bass your first instrument or trombone? What was it?
Trombone was my first instrument, and then I got into guitar and bass and other things, but mainly trombone.
All right.
That's my
Andy?
main guy.
Well, since those two took the other band directors up in Petoskey,
There's this Petoskey thing going on, by the way, that everybody can see.
I guess I'll go with Sufjan Stevens.
No. Great. And he's actually inspiring in terms of his performances, too. I don't think there's anyone quite like Sufjan Stevens when it comes to putting on a show. I'm also curious, and this is something that I'm seeing a lot, especially in Michigan over the last couple of years, a lot of female-fronted bands and a lot of bands where women really are taking a very assertive forward role in a band. Is this something that's a conscious decision that you really want to make sure that people realize this? Are there obstacles when you're booking bands or when you're booking your shows to having that sort of element? Because clearly rock and roll for many years has been kind of a guy's place.
I guess I kind of forget about it. I don't really think about it much, actually. I honestly don't think about it, like, about our genders in the band or anything. But there are definitely, or there were obstacles.
Sure.
At least. And I'm sure I've been turned down before, like from booking in the past when I haven't had like a full band behind me because I was just one young girl, you know. But lately it hasn't really been too much of a problem. I've only really run into just a lot of good people that have
That's
been
good.
supportive of the band.
It should not
It's
be a
nice.
problem. That's right. Although sometimes I think I hear rumors that every once in a while rumblings that that can be an issue depending on where you're playing. But this is great. I love seeing this sort of all-enveloping, all-encompassing scene. What are you going to play for us next?
We're gonna play a song called "Some Other Day." 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Are you gonna go? Are you gonna stay? Please make up your mind. Oh, it's getting kinda late. And if you're wondering if I had something to say, honestly, I'd like to do this some other day. But I find it so hard to be loving when there's just something I want to be close to you. But I'm a bad actor too. I lost it all within the week. There's nothing here, no old stories. I want to be someone who show me what I never knew. I know that you have a lot on your plate. So please don't be like me and cancel all our dates. I see you once a month and you sure know how to play. Maybe that is why I haven't got to run away. But I find it so hard to be loving when there's just nothing I want to be close to you. But I'm a bad actor too. I lost it all within a week. There's nothing here, no old stories. I want to be someone who show me what I never knew.
Thank you. Here's the last song. It's called "Cigarettes." What do you mean raise my pack of cigarettes? What do you mean my eyes no regret?
I have a sense, Olivia, that you're never more comfortable than you are when you're on stage performing. Is that true?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You feel like you're in your element. And what's the reaction of the audience generally to when you guys are out performing? You're playing festivals or playing clubs?
Yeah, it's super dependent on the place. You know, a larger crowd usually like pumps us up, and when we get really a lot less nervous actually. But then you know we play at these like 3 or 4 hour long dinners and you know places like that, and we're just like, I don't know.
You ever play cover songs?
we have a couple. Most of it's original. Sometimes we get a little bored for the longer sets, so we'll cycle through our songs, but we'll do different versions of our songs.
Nice.
So
you never know what you're going to get. That's it. Well, through the magic of video and A Wrinkle in Time, we have time for one more song. So do you guys have anything else that you can throw together and play for Local Spins Live at River City Studios?
okay, yeah, let's do it. We'll play a song called "Maybe the Saddest Thing."
A title track.
Yes.
We'll call it an encore.
Meryl Streep movies, porcelain roasters, daisies, cooking dinner logically in favor of a daily bike ride to my buddy John's, finding grids and scatter plots. Every road I choose to walk up filled with carnival roadblocks. I was in the movies, I'm the one that always cries. It's possibly the saddest thing. I'm gleaned from strange bloodlines. It's right beneath my tongue now. It's not a normal thing. On any given day, I'm the one that goes hungry. Bye bye, Benny. Lost a penny when you died. And I feel like I lost my teeth. And yes, sometimes it gets a little hard to eat. But my face and my hands are only Meryl Streep movies, porcelain roasters, daisies, cooking dinner logically in favor of a daily bike ride to my buddy John's, finding grids and scatter plots. Every road I choose to walk up filled with carnival roadblocks. I was in the movies, I'm the one that always cries. It's possibly the saddest thing. I'm gleaned from strange bloodlines. It's right beneath my tongue now. It's not a normal thing. On any given day, I'm the one that goes hungry. I'm the one that goes hungry. Maybe the saddest thing you've heard. I've heard sadder. Maybe the weirdest thing you've seen. I've seen stranger. Maybe the saddest thing you've heard. I've heard sadder. Maybe the weirdest thing you've seen. Bye bye, Benny. Lost a penny when you died. And I feel like I lost my way. But it doesn't really make a difference to me. But my face and my hands are only Meryl Streep movies, porcelain roasters, daisies, cooking dinner logically in favor of a daily bike ride to my buddy John's, finding grids and scatter plots. Every road I choose to walk up filled with carnival roadblocks.
Once again, everyone, Olivia Mainville and the Aquatic Troupe. Want to thank Olivia and her talented crew for being here tonight, being part of the Hopcat Presents Local Spins Live at River City Studios series. You can catch the band tomorrow night at Inside Out Gallery in Traverse City, and they'll be back down in the Grand Rapids area on May 7th playing at Our Brewing in Holland, a nice intimate venue. You can find remaining dates on the band's Facebook page. Also, keep an eye on localspins.com for the podcast and video from tonight's session at Local Spins Live at River City Studios. And thank you all for being part of this tonight and being part of this special night. Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.